Doug, simple question, what has been going on?
What's been going on is, after really 7 years of a feverish and pitched battle, which had become sort of the rallying cry of the Republican Party against Obama's 2010 health care bill, it seems that those Republican efforts to undo the bill, to repeal and replace it, as they say, have hit a potentially fatal hurdle. It could be the death blow to the efforts in the short term, and perhaps in the medium term and the longer term. And the reason is they simply did not have the votes in the end. We know that the Republicans have 52 votes in the Senate, which is, yes, they have a majority, but it's a paper-thin majority, which means that if they would need at least 50 votes to pass. We already had 2 Republican senators in the past couple of weeks saying absolutely no way, no how can we vote for the current version of this Republican health care overhaul as it stands. And now, late on Monday, you had 2 more Republicans basically joining that I won't call the stampede away from it, but breaking ranks, as you said, and saying we can't vote against it. That's at least 4. You add to that the fact that all the Democrats and independents in Congress were absolutely no way, no how going to vote against repeal of Obama's health care bill. And you have mathematically an equation which simply, in the end, Mitch McConnell, who basically runs the Senate and was running the efforts to repeal this bill in Congress, knows he didn't have the votes. So he had to basically call it off over, obviously, the cries of Donald Trump, who says you must vote now just to repeal. Forget the replacement for now.
So, Will, what then if repeal and replace does turn into just repeal and no replace?
Yeah, well, there are several scenarios now being touted about. Listen, a lot of the Democrats are obviously saying this is the end of the Trump health efforts to repeal and replace Obamacare. They're basically saying this should be now the big wake-up call, rather than battering yourselves over the heads, bang your heads on the wall to repeal Obamacare. Work with Democrats, work on at least trying to improve the Obama health care that has now been in place for wherever you stand, for better or for worse, for 7 years. Make it a better law if that's what you really want, if you really say you're serious about improving the health care of Americans. What one of the strategies under consideration is, and Mitch McConnell will have to decide whether he's actually going to go through with this, is to push ahead, as Donald Trump would like to do, to simply repeal the law. Remember I said in the beginning, the whole battle has been over repeal and replace. Well, this would take out the replace part for now. It would just be a bill, purely repeal it. Take it out, take the carpet out from under your feet, and have no alternative for now. Have a 2-year delay, basically. Buy some time to come up with an alternative. The problem is that is not going to fly. It already isn't flying, especially with a lot of Republican governors whose states, in many cases, while not loving Obamacare, as it's derogatively called often, at least have gotten used to it, and they're not ready to just see what happens with life with absolutely no Obama health care.
Perhaps one irony is that even many Trump supporters have been coming out saying that they've actually gotten used to President Obama's health care. Some of them even saying that they actually don't know how they would live without it at this point.
It's not just an irony. I mean, it's a tragic irony, if you will, because you take real red states, fervent Trump supporters who champion Trump on just about every issue. Then you get to health care. States like Kentucky, coal mining states where they vote for him on the economic issues. But here's the deal. In a lot of states, especially rural ones, hospitals depend on what's called the Medicaid patients, which cover health care for poorer people. And these would be stripped away, a lot of it, under these payments under Trump's health care proposed bill. They've gotten used to Obamacare, which covers a lot of those expenses. So hospitals in rural areas, people dealing with the so-called opioid crisis in the U.S. with prescription drugs, they wouldn't be covered anymore. And also poorer patients with chronic medical conditions. They are people who've gotten used to Obama's health care, and they don't know what life would look like without it right now.
All right, thanks so much, Doug Herbert, our international affairs editor here at France 24.